So let's talk about first of all what is ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is basically an artificially intelligent chatbot. You can simply say it is a AI chatbot, and it is developed by OpenAI, and it is launched in November 30, 2022. So from there onwards, there are a lot of discussions, threads going on ChatGPT, right? So that's why we are here now. And coming to the ChatGPT, there are huge advantages. At the same time, there is a limited limitations, and one of the main limitation of the ChatGPT is so its knowledge is limited, up until September 2021. So it means that if you ask any question beyond 2021, okay, it will not be able to answer your question. Okay, for example, so who won the FIFA World Cup in 2022? Okay, so if you ask this question to ChatGPT, it will not be in a position to answer it. Okay, and so not only ChatGPT, there are other AI chatbots are available. Okay, some of the famous AI chatbots in the industry currently are Google Bard. Okay, and so it's free, and also it has a real-time data. The other things are ChatSonic. This is also very famous, and this is also free, and it provides the real-time data. So you ask any question, it can able to fetch you the data, even if it has happened yesterday also. And Jasper AI, this is paid, so you can't use it as freely, but it is paid. Okay. One advantage of ChatSonic is, it also manages the images. Okay, so if you ask, okay, I need image for which has flowers and trees and something like that, it will give you that image. So if the description is valid, based on the description, it will imagine, and then it give you a image. Okay, so this is very common question among many people. Will AI replace our manual or our automation engineers? To answer this right away, it cannot replace. Okay, so to operate the chat GPT also, there is some human interactions are needed. That is one thing. And if you remember, in our day-to-day activities in our company, so we talk to a lot of people, and we discuss, collaborate, and we chat about our work. Okay, so we do a lot of creativity activities, and we also do testing and also bug creation. So all those things cannot be automated. There is someone to manage the chat gpt. So only thing, the advantage of chat gpt at this moment is you can use the chat gpt to increase your productivity, but for sure chat gpt cannot replace you. It's only used for to increase our capabilities or productivity. So only for that reason we can use ChatGPT at this moment. And coming to the usages of ChatGPT in testing, so there are so many usages, but some of the major usages that I mentioned here, you can give some inputs to write the test cases. Okay, you can ask the ChatGPT to generate the test data for the same test cases or for different test cases. It can help you in web automation, mobile automation, API automation, desktop automation, and it can also generate SQL queries, complex SQL queries or normal SQL queries. So it all depends on what kind of input that you are giving to the ChatGPT. Based on that, it will give you the proper answers. And code refactoring. Okay, so there is some code which you don't like it, and you wanted to refactor it. Okay, so there is some code which you don't like it sometimes, right? And you wanted to refactor it, you wanted to remodify that code in a better way, optimized way. So you can ask ChatGPT to refactor it. It will do that for you. And programming and generate utility methods. So you can ask ChatGPT, okay, give me a program for this question, or you create a utility for this problem. Okay, so create a utility to read the data from Excel, create a utility to read the data from the properties file. Okay, you ask it to give you proper details. And explain the concept. Let's say you ask some question. Okay, let's say you ask some program, give me a program to reverse the string. Okay, and it has given the input to you. Okay, and for some reason you are unable to understand that, then you can ask the chat gpt to explain that concept. It will explain to you. Okay, and code conversions from Python to Java, Java to Python, or Java to C Sharp. You can convert any code from any language. Okay, so let me take you to the ChatGPT. So this is the ChatGPT. So let me log out. So when you say ChatGPT openai.com/auth/login, it will show something like this. Okay, you have to say login. So ChatGPT. So there are certain examples how to use the ChatGPT as mentioned already here. Okay, explain quantum computing in simple terms and the capabilities. Remember what user said in the conversation. So it means that you asked a question. Okay, for example, created test cases for login scenario. Okay, so you can say for the above scenario, generate the test data. It will remember the previous question. It will remember the context. Okay, so what we are discussing in the conversation. Okay, so based on that, it will answer for your next queries also. Allows users to provide follow-up corrections, trying to decline inappropriate request. If you ask any questions which is not good or bad, okay, so it will stop giving that answer. And limitations, as we discussed, limited knowledge of old and events after 2020-21. So let's start with the test case or test data generator. So how we can create the test cases. Okay. So let me give you this query to the ChatGPT. So write test cases for Gmail login scenario with positive and negative. You can see that it has given very quickly. Okay, and so it has distinguished positive test cases, and it has also mentioned negative test cases. Okay, so enter valid Gmail email address, enter the correct password associated with the account, click on the login button. So then what you have to expect, the user should successfully log in and redirected to Gmail inbox. Okay, so what is the input, what is the expected output? Okay, so enter the email address without @ symbol, enter the password associated with the account, click on the login button. So login should fail. Okay, it gives you the complete information. All you need to do is a little bit modification and use it in your testing. You can say generate test data for the above scenario. You don't have to mention Gmail login also. You can just say generate test data for the above scenario. So what I mentioned in the very beginning, so ChatGPT can remember the conversation. It can remember the context, what is going on right now, right? So based on that, it can decide what question you are asking. Generate test data for the above scenario. Let's see that. Okay. Positive data. So we have asked positive and negative, right? So it has given the positive test data that you have to use, and you have to use negative test data that you have to use. Okay. So this email and password, you have to change it. You have to give the valid credentials. It says valid login credentials, right? You have to give you valid login credentials. It will give you some dummy data, but you have to, while using, you have to change it. So there is, you can't use it as it is, but you need to do little bit modification to use it. Generate test data with alphanumeric with length as 10. Test data with alphanumeric with length as 10. So I didn't say Gmail login scenario. Okay, but it will give you the data related to Gmail login. We'll check. Okay, so you can use alphanumeric data. So this kind of different um, data you can use either for password or either for email. Okay. So not only for login scenario, for any scenario that you wanted to ask, you can give a proper text. It will give you the proper response. And as long as the response is not matching with your interest, okay, you can keep change your question, okay, to get the proper response. Okay, sometimes it requires tune the question. The moment you tune the question, you get the proper answer. So let's get into programming concept. So let me ask the ChatGPT to give me a reverse string. Okay, generate code for reverse string. So here is a simple Python code to do reverse string. Okay, so it has created a function. You can see that reverse string. Okay, so it gives you complete information. It gives you some more description about. Okay, so what is this reverse string? What is this concept? Okay, so it gives you some more information, and you can also ask the ChatGPT to convert the program in Java. So you can see that the same program it has converted in Java. Okay, here also I didn't ask about reverse string. It remembers the context, it remembers the conversation. So please remember that. And it gives you some little bit explanation. But if you want more detailed explanation, you can also ask explain the code. Please explain above code. It gives you in a very detailed manner. So if you have time to read it, you read it. It will gives you in a very detailed manner. Okay? And another a very major importance of ChatGPT or usage of ChatGPT when it comes to testing is creating the utility methods. So generate utility method for reading properties using Java. You can say Python or whatever it is. Okay. So if you don't mention the language, it will give you the answer on its own language. It could be Python or JavaScript or whatever it is. So you have to be clear about what language you want the code to be generated. Okay, if you see that, so this is the utility method. So how do we know that? It could have mentioned somewhere. In the main method, we demonstrate how to use load properties method. You need to provide the actual path of your property file in file path. It gives you complete information. So it is the utility method. Okay, load properties. And so there is an example also given in the main method. So from which file you wanted to read the data, you need to provide that file path, okay, and then load that properties file. And then, so in this property file, if there is a username, it will return the username and password, and you can able to use them by printing or whatever it is. Okay, but you can keep tune this question as long as you want what are you expecting to get. Okay, so I'm expecting to get, it should give a property file, and then it should read that property file. It should give an example of property file, and it should read that property file data. Okay, so generate utility method. Okay, you can say create a property file and generate utility method for reading the properties. Okay, so let's see how it gives. You can see that. So it has created a property file, example property file, and it also created a utility method. Okay, and it has given an example. So as I mentioned, until you get what you are expecting, you can tune the question to get that output. The web automation. Okay, so this is very interesting. Let me show you that, and very much useful. Generate a test scripts using Selenium with Java for login functionality of a web application, that is WordPress.com, with implicit wait, and for every element use explicit wait condition. Okay, so this is the WordPress. So to do login, you need to click on the login link button, and then you need to enter the username, and then click on the continue button, and then you need to enter the password. Then you need to do login button. Then finally it will be getting to the web page. Okay, so let's see this. It has used implicit wait. I mentioned to use implicit wait. It has used implicit wait. It has found the login button or login link, and then clicked on the login link. And then it has found the username or email. It has found the element and enter the text. Okay. So username or email. Let me log out and show you. You can inspect the element. Can you see that? ID, username or email. It will go through the DOM and find out the locator that you are needed. It will not generate random locator. It will generate the exact locator. You don't have to worry about for this particular input, what is the ID or what is the name or what is the expert that I have to use. That ChatGPT will work on it. Okay, and then enter the password, and then click on the login button. Okay, and then you wait for the login page, the dashboard page to appear. Okay, finally close the browser. Okay, so you can directly use this code and execute it, but you need to make little bit changes, as I mentioned. So path to Chrome driver that you have to provide. Okay, so it has not mentioned what username you have to enter, that you have to mention. What password you wanted to enter, that you have to mention. Okay, so there are certain changes are required before you use the code that is generated by the ChatGPT. Sometimes it will directly works, sometimes you need to work on the code little bit. And similarly, mobile automation, write a automation script for Android mobile using Appium in Java. Okay, so you can check that. So what are the prerequisites that are required? You need an Android SDK, you need an Appium server installed, you need an Appium Java client library. Okay, and these are the capabilities. This is the Appium server URL, and so this is how you can find the element. Okay, and you can enter the text. Okay, so like that. So now coming to SQL, create a SQL query that gets all users who student ID is 101. It's all users. Okay, it has given a beautiful query, and you can convert this query to a different database queries. Okay, for example, convert the above query to into MongoDB. Okay, it gives you the code. So not only for SQL, you can convert into other database languages also. And one more important thing, for example, so this is vitamin B12, something in the Wikipedia. Okay, So if you look into this Wikipedia, there is lot of context, too much of context, too many references. Okay, but I want a quick summary of this web page. So in that case, write a quick summary of this article. Okay, so you can say give the website link. It will go through that website and give you the quick summary. Okay. So vitamin B12 is a nutrient. So a deficiency of vitamin B12 can lead to various health issues. Okay. So the quick summary, the major important topics or important lines or important text that you need to understand from that entire documentation. Okay. So you need to attend some meeting and you don't have much time. Okay. So to talk something about that article, so you want some quick summary. So you can use ChatGPT again. And you can also use ChatGPT for API automation. So automate a post method in rest assured and validate the body. Okay. So this is the request body and this is the response. So status code, verification of the status code it is doing. Okay. And it is also verifying body should not be not null and name should be equal to John Doe. Email should be equal to something. Okay. So it is also verifying that. Once you get the response, so this is the validation. The other important thing about ChatGPT to appreciate is it will give you the comments for everything, so that you don't have any trouble in understanding the code which has generated. Okay, so you can see the comments. And ChatGPT prompts. So this is another important topic about ChatGPT. So you can ask ChatGPT to become a teacher. You can ask ChatGPT to become a doctor. Okay, it will, once you make a question, it will answer the question such a way that it thinks that it is a doctor and gives you the answer, or it thinks that it is a teacher and gives you the answer. How a teacher responds for your question. Yeah, let's look at the some of the ChatGPT prompts available in the internet. Okay, so this is the GitHub URL. Copy that URL and go there. So you can say have some ChatGPT prompts. Otherwise, you can simply say ChatGPT prompts, and again you can see the GitHub URL of some ChatGPT prompts. Click on that. So here you can find out many ChatGPT prompts. Act as a Linux terminal. You can tell the ChatGPT to become a Linux terminal. Acts as a English translator and improver. Acts as a position interviewer. Act as a personal trainer. Okay. So, for example, you can take act as a personal trainer and you can paste it here. I would be happy to act as your virtual personal trainer. You can ask your, the nutrition related stuff or exercise related stuff. So, any healthier lifestyle related stuff. Give me detailed routine for body, body and mind fitness, something like that. So it is giving fitness for the body and it is giving fitness for the mind, meditation, mindful breathing, etc., etc. Okay, so you can also ask ChatGPT to become a Linux terminal. So you can type pwd to know which folder you are in. Okay, so it says that you are in this particular folder slash home slash username. So let's do folder 1 and folder 2 already there. Let's do mkdir folder 3. Now type ls. Can you see that folder 3 is created? Okay, you can practice Linux commands. You can say rmdir, whatever the folder which we have created, rmdir folder 3, which will delete the created folder. Now type ls. You can see that folder 3 is deleted. Okay, so there are a lot of prompts. You can go through each one of them, and whichever best suits you, you can take that prompt and start to utilize the ChatGPT as a personal trainer, as a English teacher, or as a act as a Excel sheet or whatever it is. Okay, so that is one thing about the ChatGPT. And the last one which I want to discuss about is how to integrate ChatGPT API. So ChatGPT itself provides a lot of APIs which you can utilize it. So you can say ChatGPT API. Go to developers, API reference. Okay, so as you already logged in, you can see view APIs keys. So this is the API key which I have generated. You can generate any number of keys. So these API keys are important or required in order to invoke the ChatGPT APIs. Okay. So these are the API references. So you can call the ChatGPT related APIs bearer and the API key. Whatever the API key that you have generated, you can paste it here. Okay. So you can call this API through the curl or through the postman or through the any other API invocation tools. You can see here I am trying to invoke start completion some API. It says that you exceeded your current quota. Please check your plan and billing details. That means you have to subscribe for the API to invoke. You have to pay some amount. Then only it will allow you to invoke those APIs. Then only you can able to make use of those APIs into your application. Okay. And the API key you have to provide in the authorization part. If you are using the Postman, the API key that you have to provide in the authorization, and the token that you have to provide. The token is nothing but the API key. So this is how you can able to integrate ChatGPT APIs to your applications, or you can directly use them for whatever the purpose that you have. But as I mentioned, you have to subscribe for it and you have to pay the monthly billing or yearly billing amount. Yeah, I request all of you to please watch this video till the end to get all the details how to use the ChatGPT in different dimensions. And I also request you to please subscribe my channel to help me to create more and more videos and for the knowledge sharing.